Hello, this is Mr. Henry, and welcome to Lesson 4.2. This lesson is entitled Understanding Slope-Intercept Form. The essential question says, how do I write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form? Did you know that slope-intercept form is a simple way to write the equation of a straight line? All you need is the slope of the line and where the line crosses the y-axis. Those are the only two pieces you need to write the equation of a line. So, our vocab word, slope-intercept form, well, that's it. Slope-intercept form is this equation right here. That you will find on your formula sheet entitled slope-intercept form. And it says where m is the slope of the line. They won't tell you that in the formula sheet, and b is the y-intercept. They also will not tell you that on the formula sheet. You've got to know where the slope is and what the intercept is. But it's kind of easy because this first part is the slope. The second part is the y-intercept. Look, it's called slope-intercept form. The slope comes first, the intercept comes second. Now, what will this look like? This will look something like this. Y equals 3x minus 5. Or y equals negative 1/4 x plus 2. Y equals, I don't know, I just used 1/4. 1/5 x minus 12. All of these are in slope-intercept form, where the first number is the slope, and the number at the end without a variable is your y-intercept. Okay? So first example, we want to identify if the equation is currently written in slope-intercept form. If it is, find the slope and the intercept. So look at this first equation. We just want to know, is this in slope-intercept form? It is. I can see this is y equals mx plus b. That makes the slope is equal to 5, and the y-intercept is equal to 9. Slope, intercept. Slope comes first, intercept comes second. Letter B. Nah, this is all wrong. This is not slope-intercept form. For it to be slope-intercept form, it would need to be y equals mx plus b. So this 2x would need to be on the other side of the equal sign, and this 3 would need to be divided on both sides. So this is not slope-intercept form. By the way, in case you're curious, this is something called standard form. That's what this is. But it is not slope-intercept form. All right? If you could, please go ahead and copy and do these two problems. Pause the video. When you're ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through them together. Okay, so let's see here. Does this fit y equals mx plus b? Well, this looks like it'd be my m. This looks like it's b, but this plus sign is a minus sign. Is that okay? Yes. Yes, it is. That just means that your b value, your y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis, your b value is negative. So my slope in this problem is 1/2. We like having slopes as fractions. My y-intercept, which is that b value, is negative 12. Letter D. Slope-intercept form. Does that fit y equals mx plus b? Possibly? Now, the reason why I'm saying possibly is this whole equation is kind of backwards of how I'd like it. Like, the y's by itself, which looks good, but, I don't know, maybe if I flip-flop this thing. So, I'm allowed to do that because in an equation, the two sides are equal to each other. So if I just take the y and I move him this way, take this junk and move it that way, let's see what we get. So we have y equals negative 2x plus 8. That's good, valid math. You're allowed to do that. Now, does that fit slope-intercept form? Well, yes, it does. Look at that. My slope is negative 2, and my y-intercept is the 8. So let's put that down. Slope is negative 2, y-intercept is 8. So this is my slope, this is my y-intercept. This was slope-intercept form, even though the variables, the whole equation was kind of flip-flopped from how we'd normally like to see it. Okay, just more of the same. That's all we want to do. A couple more of the same. Is this slope-intercept form? No. This is not slope-intercept form because of him. Slope-intercept form does not have any exponents. So this is not slope-intercept form. Letter F. Is that slope-intercept form? Well, let me write it down in case we forgot. Y equals mx plus b. Like, this is definitely my slope, right? The number attached to the variable number attached to the x is the slope. So that's my slope. But what's my b value? If I could think of if I could figure out if there's something here or not, then we'd be good. Plus 0? Is that okay? Is that allowed? Yeah, you can always add 0 to any problem. It doesn't change anything. Adding 0 is, it's like one of those ghost things. It's always there. We just don't always use it. Well, here, I need it. This tells me that, yes, this is in slope-intercept form. So my slope is that 2.5. I thought that might be the slope because he's the one attached in front of the variable. Now, the y-intercept here is 0, which you may not understand what the y-intercept is yet. So basically this line, this guy here, has a slope of 2.5, and it's going to cross right through the origin. It's crossing at that point. Last two of this type, I believe. So if you could please pause the video, do letters G and H right now. When you are ready, continue, hit play, and we'll go through them together. Okay, letter G. So we want to figure out, is this slope-intercept form? So y equals mx plus b. It looks uglier. Like this is like a negative decimal, which is okay. I mean, this last problem had a decimal. That's okay for a slope. We don't like it, but it's okay. And now my b value is a fraction. Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. We can do that. Even though they're ugly numbers, it's still in the right form. So my slope in this problem is negative 7.2. I would not want to graph that slope, by the way. That is pretty ugly. My y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis, is crossing at 4/3. So yes, that's slope-intercept form, even though it's ugly. Letter H, though, this is not slope-intercept form. Look at this. My y variable is not by itself. In slope-intercept form, the y variable needs to be completely by itself. It's y equals. Not 3y, not 5y, not y plus 6. The y needs to be by itself. So this is not slope-intercept form. Not slope-intercept form. Example 2. Write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, then identify the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so now, in these problems, none of these will be in slope-intercept form. Our job is to make it look like that. So I'm actually going to move letter B over farther. Equation. Y equals mx plus b. So I've got to make this equation here look like that. So I need to get the y completely by itself on one side of the problem, get everything else to the other. That's kind of what's the point of slope-intercept form is. So that's what it will look like, or how we'll do it. We get the y by itself, get everything to the other side. So for me to do that in this letter A here, well, just like when you're solving an equation, let's think of this y. This is the variable we're trying to keep. So we need to get rid of everything else. Well, do you get rid of add and subtract first? See, this y is being added by 3x. Or do you get rid of the multiply and divide first? Thinking back, we just did this last unit. You get rid of add and subtract first. We get rid of this 3x. So we're going to subtract 3x because he's being added. So we subtract 3x on both sides. This becomes 2y equals. Now, I could put 8 minus 3x, but that's not what slope-intercept form normally looks like. You see how we put the x piece first? I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that negative 3x first and the positive 8 second. That way it's starting to look like this. You see how it's starting to get there? It's really close. All we have to do now is if we can get rid of this 2 in front of the y, we're slope-intercept form. And so since that's a multiply, if we divide by 2 on both sides, we get our answer. Y equals negative 3 divided by 2 is, it's going to stay a fraction. It's going to stay negative 3 over 2 x. 8 divided by 2, because you divide everything on the top by 2. 8 divided by 2 is just 4. And now we have it. That is this equation in slope-intercept form. Now, I want to show you something. So if you go to good old Desmos, either the app or the website, you click on Start Graphing. If I type in those two equations, if I type in this equation I started with and this equation I ended up with, we should get the same exact line. So I'm going to do the first one. It's 3x plus 2y equals 8. Okay, so that is the line. 3x plus 2y equals 8. Now, I'll make a new one. Y equals negative 3 divide 2. I'm going to hit sideways or just tap out here. If you tap your cursor out here, x plus 4. Now, it made this one in blue, the other in red. Look. Can you see the graph? Can you see the line? Watch. It's the same line. They're right over top of each other. These equations are identical to each other. That's what we were looking for. That's what we were hoping for. All we did was just rewrite the equation to make it in the right form. We didn't change the line at all. Okay. Letter B. Now you're going to like letter B because letter B is a lot easier than letter A. In fact, this is only one step. Look at this. If I can get this y by itself, we're done. What's the one step it's going to take to get the y by itself? Well, divide by negative 4 if you said it. We're going to divide both sides by negative 4 because this is a multiply, so we divide to cancel it out. We get y equals. Now, if we divide both pieces over here by negative 4, 2 divided by negative 4 is negative 1/2. 2 divided by negative 4. I simplified. The 2 over 4 is 1/2. It's still negative. Negative 12 divided by negative 4. Negative 12 divided by negative 4 is a positive 3. Remember how we were doing this earlier? Negative divided by negative is positive? Yeah. You don't believe me? Type it in the calculator. Oopsie. I forgot my x. It's negative 1/2 x. Now, that's slope-intercept form. Oopsie. And I just realized I didn't finish the problem. Identify the slope and y-intercept. So, in this problem, I'm going to say my slope is negative 3 over 2. My y-intercept is 4. In letter B, my slope is negative 1/2. My y-intercept is 3. There we go. So I wrote the equation in slope-intercept form. I got the y variable by itself. You might see this phrase as solve for y. That's what we did. We solved for y. We got the y by itself. And once we did that, we looked. Our equation is in slope-intercept form. And so the slope was the negative 1/2, and the intercept was the 3. Okay, I did 2. You tried 2. So go ahead and try these 2 when you're ready to continue, or if you get a little stuck, hit play, and we'll go through it together. All right. So I'm looking at letter C, and here's what I see. I see, to get this y by itself, I have to get rid of the 2x first on both sides, and then I'm going to get rid of the 3. One piece at a time. All right, so now, after you get rid of the 2x on this side, these 2x's cancel out. 2x minus 2x is 0. Gone. On the other side, when I take this 9 minus 2x, I cannot actually subtract this, but I do want to have the x piece first. So there's my negative 2x. There's my positive 9. I just brought down both pieces. I cannot add or subtract them, so I just bring them both down. But I put the x piece first to make it look like slope-intercept form. Divide both sides by 3. Cancels. Y equals. Now, if I take and do negative 2 divided by 3, I get... I can't do that. I can't take negative 2 divided by 3. Well, I can, but... as a fraction, it doesn't simplify. So I'm just going to leave it as negative 2 divided by 3 x. That's now my slope. And then on the other side, when I take 9 divided by 3, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So there is my equation. It then says find the slope and intercept. So slope is negative 2/3. Intercept is 3. Letter D. Well, to get to y by itself, I got to get rid of this junk. So the way we get rid of that piece, since he's being added to the y, we're going to subtract him away. Which means I need to erase a little bit here. I'm going to subtract 2/5 x on both sides. The whole chunk, the whole kit bang and caboodle. So I subtract 2/5 x on both sides. And we get y equals, again, I'm going to put the x piece first and then followed by the negative 7. That way the slope comes first. This becomes negative 2/5 x minus 7. This is now in slope-intercept form. I got y equals, the number in front of the x is the slope. The one without a variable, the constant, is the y-intercept. So this is my slope is negative 2/5, and my intercept is negative 7. Okay, so we've done a little bit of practice of both. The first thing we did is we found out which lines, which equations are slope-intercept form. Right now we're practicing how to write the equations in slope-intercept form, how to solve for y. And then once the equation is in slope-intercept form, finding the slope and intercept. Okay. Letter E. I'm going to divide. I need to get this y by itself, so I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. I get y equals, I cannot simplify this fraction, so it's going to stay a fraction as my slope. And just to make this perfectly clear, although this is acceptable and this could be done, I'm going to add on a little plus 0. That's going to be my y-intercept, right? Because the equation y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. So my slope is 4/5, and my intercept is 0. This line crosses the y-axis at 0. Letter F is ugly. It's the ugliest of the problem so far, but even though it's ugly, we have a calculator to do the ugly math. We just have to do it. So the same stuff we did before. Imagine this was just 2 instead of 2.5. If this was just a 2, here, imagine this, and imagine this. There. Yay, no decimals. So if the equation was 2x minus 4y equals 1, what would you do? Well, you'd subtract 2x on both sides. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to subtract this. Even though it's 2.5x, I'm still going to subtract it on both sides to cancel him out. Now, I cannot actually subtract that. This is 2.5x. This guy has an x. This guy does not. So since I can't subtract them, I'm just going to bring them both down. Making sure I bring my x piece down first because that piece is going to be my slope. The one attached to the x is the slope. The one without the x is my y-intercept, or will be. So negative 2.5x plus 1.8. Now, this y variable is not by himself yet. That's a problem. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. Ugly. Yeah, I'm out of space. Let's get down here. Get down there. All right. So now, y equals, what is this ugliness? I don't know. Now, I'm okay dividing this. Check this out. Negative 2.5 divide negative 4. I'm okay doing that. Do you see how my problem started with decimals? So it's okay to end with decimals. Even though I would not want to graph this 0.625x, I would not want to graph that slope. That's pretty ugly. But it's okay to have an equation. 1.8 divided by negative 4 equals, okay, negative 0.45. Yeah, it's an ugly equation. It's okay. My slope is 0.625. My y-intercept is negative 0.45. Ugly does not mean wrong. So, I would like you to please copy and do letters G and H. Pause the video, do them on your own. When you're ready to continue, or if you need some assistance, hit play and we'll go through them together. Letter G. So to get that y variable by itself, we're going to start by subtracting 3x on both sides. That cancels him out. We get negative 4y. Yes, you still need the negative. On the other side, I'm going to bring the x piece down first. The other piece comes down second. Then to get the y by itself, since this is a multiply, we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. And we get y equals, this fraction actually can be simplified. Negative 3 over negative 4 can simplify because my negatives would both cancel out, giving me a positive 3/4 x. And 0 divided by negative 4 is still 0. Equation, slope, 3/4. Intercept, 0. I think this is the last one of these. I'm excited. I'm ready to move on to another topic here. So, we're going to get rid of the x piece first. Subtract. Try it again. Subtract 0.3x on both sides. These guys cancel. Gone, gone, gone. We still have 2y equals. Now, I bring the x piece down first, the constant down second. Negative 0.3x minus 4. To get the y by itself, I divide both sides by 2. These cancel. Y equals. Now that, I'm just going to divide. Clear? 0.3 divided by 2. Yeah, I remember he's negative. I'm just going to get a negative answer. Negative 0.15x. And negative 4 divided by 2 is just negative 2. So I divided both pieces. And so now my slope is negative 1. Negative 0.15. And my intercept is negative 2. Whew. That's a lot of work to solve. But where this is going to come in extremely handy is when we have to start graphing, which looks like it'll be coming up here. I think it's in the next lesson. I don't think we're doing any graphing in this lesson. But when we start graphing, this will make your life so much easier. Graphing an equation like this in standard form, it's not super easy. Once we change that to slope-intercept form, your life, your graphing, becomes about 10 times easier. Okay? That's why we're getting practice doing this, changing equations to slope-intercept form. Now, we're going to do kind of slightly the opposite. The last few problems, we had an equation. We were then to find the slope and intercept. This says, write the equation of the line. So they're giving us this piece, and they want the equation, which is so incredibly easy if you remember the formula. Y equals mx plus b. So in this formula, my slope is 5. My y-intercept is a positive 2. That's it. It was really that easy. This piece is your slope. This is your y-intercept. You're done. Letter B. Y equals my slope is negative 2/3 x. My intercept is negative 8. Done. It's really that easy. If they give you the slope and they give you the y-intercept, all you have to do is plug them in. Done. I would like you to please try letters C and D. So pause the video, do them on your own. When you are ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through them together. All right, let's see. Did you come up with y equals negative 4x plus 1.6 and y equals 3/8 x plus 44? Probably in about that same speed. You probably could just fly right through those two problems because it's incredibly easy. They're giving you the slope. They're giving you the y-intercept. All you got to do is you plug it in the equation. Slope first, intercept second. Slope, intercept form. Example 3. It would like us to match the tables below with the correct equation. So I have 4 tables. I have 4 equations, and I want to know which one is which. Okay. Now, I'm looking at this, and I have some clues, some evidence that I'm going to use is to make my life a lot easier. So I'm looking at this. I know that this equation right here, mx plus b, I know this guy has an intercept of 0. So I'll be looking in my tables up above. Where do these guys cross at the origin, at the point 0, 0? So I'm looking here. This crosses at the point 2. So if I would graph this, my y value crosses at 2. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for when does it cross at 0? Here when the x value is 0, my y value is 8. So this line's going to cross way up here at 8. That's not what I'm looking for. Ooh, this one crosses at the origin, and that one crosses at the origin. Uh-oh. So I've got two of them that cross at the origin. All right, so I'm going to actually come back to him because that might be a little bit more work. Let's see if I can find out one of these other ones. Do you see any graphs? Let's see that. Let's do this. Do you see any equations here that cross the y-axis at 2? That have a y-intercept of 2? Him, right? This guy crosses the y-intercept at 2. Has a slope of 3. Now, this is not the only way of doing this. There are multiple ways. Here's probably the way that you should check your answer, is if you start taking these points and you plug them in this equation, every single point should make this equation true. So watch, I'm going to pick this one right here. So if I plug in an x value of 2 and a y value of 8, does this math check out? So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2. 8 equals 8. Yes, that worked out. That equation is true. Okay, maybe I got lucky. Let's try another one. Or how about this? What happens if I plug in this a point from here into this equation? Would I still get it true? I don't know. Let's see. Y value of 5, x value of 3 plus 2. So does 5 equal 9 plus 2? 5 equals 11? No. So this table did not match up with this equation because when I plugged in a point here, this was not true. Now, when I plugged in a point from that last table, this point made it true. So these two are a match. And that's how we could actually do all of these. I could just take a point and plug it into any of the equations. So, here, this one. 1, 7. Even though you can't see the 1, 7 now. I wrote over it. 1, 7. If I plug it in here, does this work out? Y value, 7. X value, 1. Does that math check out? Does 7 equal negative 9? No. So I know that this one does not match up with that one. Okay, maybe this matches up with this guy. Y value, 7. X value, 1. I don't even have to do the math to see that that's not going to work out. 4 does not equal 7. No, that didn't work out either. So by process elimination, that probably has to work out here. Y value 7, X value 1. Yeah, 7 equals negative 1 plus 8 is 7. That point worked in that equation. And every single point in this table would work in this equation. If I pick another one, if I pick this guy, Y value of 3, X value of 5. Does this math check out? Negative 5 plus 8 is 3. It works. So these two are a match. This point worked and that point worked. If I tried all of them, they will all work in here. And look, he has a y-intercept of 8. And this table has a y-intercept of 8. This table, the line would cross the y-axis at a value of 8. Now these other two. So these two both cross at the origin. And my two equations down below, this guy and this guy, both cross at the origin. Now, take a look at these two tables. Can you find the pattern, the connection between these numbers and the slope? Which of these do you think matched up with which of those two equations down below? Take a second, think about it. did you say that you think this one matches up here because from this value to that value you times by 4? 3 times 4 is 12, 5 times 4 is 20, and this equation, you take each of the x values and you multiply by 4 to get the y value? Look, y is 8, y is 8. X is 2, x is 2. Yeah, that's one way to do this. We plugged in the point into the equation, and it worked. Now, I can plug in a different point. I can plug in any of the points. I'll plug in the bottom one. Why not? So when the x value is 7, the y value is 28. Does that math work out? Is 4 times 7 equal to 28? Well, heck yeah, it is. Which means that this table has to match up with that equation. And look, if I take my x value of 2 and I plug it in, is the y value equal to negative 18? Negative 9 times 2, negative 18? Yes, it worked. If I pick another point, it would also work. Okay? So you can see that these lines can be written as tables. They can be written as equations. In my tables, I can very easily usually find the y-intercept. The y-intercept always happens when the x value is 0. There's the y-intercept. There's the y-intercept. There's the y-intercept. There's the y-intercept. But I saw that when I started plugging points from my tables into my equations, each table will only work with one equation. Okay? Looks like we got this and one more question left. It says here, Tony joined a book club. He received 8 free books when he joined. The table below shows the total number of books, N, he had each month, T, since joining the club. Which equation can be used to find the total number of books, N, Tony will have from the book club after T months? Okay, seems a little confusing. Now, it gives me a table, and I've got some possible equations. So all I really have to do to figure out which of these tables or which of these equations match the table is just see if I plug, say, a point. I'll be honest. I'm going to pick this one right here, because that is going to be a very easy point to plug in. The numbers are the smallest. If I plug in that point into all 4 of these equations, it should only work in one of them. So let's see. If I plug in 8 for N and 0 for T. Oh. That's supposed to be an 8. 8 for N, 0 for T. Does that math work out? No. 8 times 0 is 0. That math did not work out. That was no good. Okay, plug in here. 8 for N, T is 0. Did that math work out? No. 3 times 0 is 0. That math did not work. Okay. 8 for N, T is 0. Let's see if this math works out. Let's see, we got 8 times 0 is 0, plus 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. No, that did not work out. So by process elimination, it better be letter D. Now let's check. It's like, who knows, I might have made a mistake somewhere. So N should be 8, T should be 0. So now 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 8. Okay, yeah, that worked. So that worked in this last equation, this letter D. Now, because I want to be extra cautious, I'm just going to try one other point, any other point. I'm going to pick this one here, because again, the numbers are small. So if T is 1 and N is 11, does this math work out? Let's see, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. It works. So letter D is the correct answer because that's the equation that when I started plugging points in, that's the equation that worked, that made the equation true. Only this equation made that table true. Letter B. The table below shows a relationship between x and y. Okay, so there's some relationship going on here. Which equation represents the relationship between x and y? Oh, sorry. Sorry. There you go. So you'll need to write down the 4 equations. I don't think you have them on your paper. Please pause the video. Try this right now. When you're ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through it together. Okay. So pick a point. I'm going to pick that one because the numbers are small. I'm going to start plugging it in and see where it works out. So I'm going to plug in, let's see, y is 8, x is 2. I can already see, no, that's not going to work because this side's going to be 4, this side's going to be 8. Nope. Y is 8, x is 2. Okay, that's going to work. So that's that. Both sides here are going to equal 8. Now, be careful. You can't just jump on the first answer you find. The first answer you find may not always be the correct or the best answer. Yes, this one point worked. Does that point work? I mean, check this out. Check out letter C. When I plug in 8 here and 2 for x there, just like 8 for y, 2 for x. Check this out. Hey, look, I got the same thing here. These both can't be right. Only one of them can be right. I think this one works. Like, check this out. I plug in 8 here. 2 times 2 plus 2. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2. Okay, no, so no, this one doesn't work out. This side I get 6, this side I get 8. So I know at least that one's not right. So one of these two, B or C, is correct. Now, how do we determine which is the right one? Well, we plug in another point. I know that that one point is on both lines. Pick another one. You'll have to pick one more. If 2 points work on the same line, you know that has to be the right one. So if I plug in 10 here, 10 for y, and 4 for x, does that math check out? 4 times 4 is 16. Nope, that didn't work. As long as that point works in letter C here, we're good. We're done. 10, 4 plus 6. Yeah, because 4 plus 6 is 10, which means we found ourselves a solution. That was the only equation that multiple points made it true. Can't just be one, multiple points. Summary. Can you give 3 examples of equations in slope-intercept form? So make up your own equations. Give me 3. That's all I'm looking for. All right? So you do that on your own. This has been lesson 4.2. Thank you for watching.